From Dom and Brian narrowly missing a train while racing, to the safe chase, which frankly speaking was impossible in the fifth movie. Here are some scenes from Fast and Furious that took it a tad bit too far.
Hey, can I check my email real quick? Or how to...
Dawn's up in 2 hours. We're gonna go take down Shaw then. Go get changed.
Starting with Dom and Brian's final race in The Fast and the Furious. Someone once described the Fast and Furious franchise as Point Break but with cars, and I couldn't agree more. But the final race between Brian and Dom in the first movie took things a bit too far, cause the pair is racing in their souped up cars when they cross the tracks while a train is approaching at full speed ahead. Now they do manage to somehow defy the laws of physics and dodge the train, but even after that, Dom gets side-rammed by a semi. Now that's the kind of accident that'll only happen to you once in your life. And you know why? Cause the next time it'll for sure kill you. Not in the world of high-speed cars it won't though. Our superhuman driver Dominic Toretto walks out just fine. And might I remind you, this is from back when the movies were still kinda, emphasis on kinda, realistic. This actually happened to be one of the more memorable scenes from the movie. But as you'll see in the rest of this video, the stunt that we just talked about is nowhere near as crazy as some of the others, like Roman leaping onto another car in the sixth movie. Look, I get it, it's a movie, it's not that deep. No need to analyze every little bit of it, cause yeah, the movies aren't really rooted in reality. But come on, Roman jumping onto an adjacent car during a highway chase? That's unreal, guys. Like your car's about to be crushed by a freaking tank, and you have enough time to get the heck out, and then jump onto the roof of another moving car? But by the time this movie came out, we kinda expected all of this to happen, right? Cause really, it was the fifth movie that started it all, starting with the scene where the team frees Dom. Now, the fifth movie is the most important movie of the franchise, cause not only did it shift from the main purpose of those movies, which was to race fast cars, but it also kinda sets the story for the 10th movie of the franchise, which will be in theaters at the end of May. So now what's happening? Well, Dom's family comes to free him while he's being transported to prison. And you know what these guys do with a bunch of cars? They freaking flip the bus. Now the bus is flipped and our guy Dom is free. But that's not all that happened in the fifth movie that was crazy. Don't y'all remember the train heist? What's Dom gonna do with his newfound freedom? Start a charity? Volunteer? Or will he and his crew try to steal a collection of cars from a high-speed train? You know which route he went with. So, during the heist, Dom and Brian cliff dive from their car into the river below after going off a cliff. That's pretty much when we all realize that the movies have lost touch with reality, and that there's no going back from this point onward. Might I add, guys, this is also the same scene where there's a truck hanging from the train, and then there's Brian hanging onto the truck that's hanging onto the train. Man, also, when did they jump into the remote river? Who rescued them? Or were they fit enough to swim their way back? Guess we'll never know. So this was pretty darn crazy, right? There's no freaking way it could get crazier, right? Well, fasten your seatbelts, cause in the 9th movie, the boys make it to space. Oh yeah. In the 9th movie of the franchise, Roman and Tej pilot a makeshift space car into orbit, wearing some pretty questionable astronaut gear. The plan is to destroy the satellite that's apparently supposed to destroy the world, which was deployed by Cypher. Now, how do they destroy it? A space laser? No. They go for a much simpler method. The two class clowns of the franchise rammed their freaking space car right into it. If I was them, I'd be more worried about getting back to Earth. But hey, that's just me. I'm no superhuman. It goes without saying that that scene was not even remotely realistic. But is the franchise even concerned about that anymore? Doesn't seem like it. Now, while that scene was horrendously crazy, it doesn't mean that the rest of the movie was tame. Cause like, didn't Dom literally swing his car across a canyon in that movie? So there's a bunch of bad guys that are pursuing Dom and his childhood sweetheart, Letty. To escape them, Dom decides that the best course of action would be to drive his car over a bridge cable. This leads to the pair being slingshotted hundreds of feet across the canyon to another cliff. He uses the cable from one bridge to land on a cliff while still driving his car. This got so unrealistic that even Letty was impressed. Right after the physics-defying stunt, she claims, "Well, that was new. But hey, it's Letty, right? Dom would do anything for her, including catching her from across the bridge in the sixth movie." Now, this infamous tank chase in the sixth movie is full of remarkable, in other words, unbelievable stunts. But this one takes the prize. This is when Dom showed us that he's no ordinary man. He's Superman without the hair. The guy crashes his car across the guardrail, flies into the air, catches Letty, who's falling at a very high speed, and lands on the other side of the bridge, where he falls on a car, breaking his fall and saving his life. Later on in the movie, Letty asks him how he knew that there would be a car to break the fall. And our guy replies, "I didn't." Goosebumps, anyone? Interestingly though, when this movie came out and Dom did this stunt, and everyone in the theater kinda just started clapping. So I guess it was worth it? But one thing's for sure, Dom catching Letty was the dawn of a whole new era. Cause then in the next movie, Fast 7, Dom did something even more ridiculous. Dom and Brian, sitting in a $3.4 million Lykan Hypersport, jumped the car across not one, not two, but three skyscrapers in Abu Dhabi. And the guys are just so darn good at what they do that they perfectly timed their exit before the car finally exits the third building and slams into the ground. At that point though, were any of us surprised? Cause the fifth and sixth movies had well established the direction the series was going to go in. And speaking of skyscrapers, it turns out the franchise just loves doing random stunts in them now, doesn't it? Cause there's a skyscraper chase in Hobbs and Shaw that's just something.
They felt Shaw was a necessary evil until eventually they decided he was unnecessary. The powers that be felt that he knew just a little bit too much. The asset became a liability.
So, the Etion organization tries to kidnap Shaw's sister, Hattie, by rappelling down a skyscraper. Hobbs, being Hobbs, realizes that the best and shortest distance between the 2 points is a straight line. Guess he paid attention in math class, huh? Anyway, realizing that, he jumps. Simply jumps. Then he manages to catch up to the Etion bad guys, and manages to do whatever he set out to do. But let's talk about the moment that started it all. The safe chase in the fifth movie. In true Fast and Furious fashion, Dom's family attaches ropes to a 10-ton safe. Then they attach those ropes to their cars and drive around the streets of Rio de Janeiro. Not only do they manage to not get caught in broad daylight carrying something so darn heavy, but they also manage to trick the police into going after a fake safe. Now, I'm just excited to see what crazy stunts they pull off in the 10th movie of the franchise. So, from the safe chase, which frankly speaking was impossible in the 5th movie, to the moment when Dom and Brian narrowly missed the train while racing. These were some of the Fast and Furious scenes that took it a tad bit too far. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.